sir. You know what that sound is. Back again on this Saturday with another. We got Fury Wilder, UFC, and World Cup qualifiers. Let's go. Let's go. Hit it perfect again. Cooking, kicking it like karate on this Saturday. Feeling good, feeling great, about to have a day. Let's get to it. Shout out JB on the beat. Shout out all the folks fucking with the pod. Being like, when I look Saturday morning, I better see that podcast. So, back again. Hella late. It's like fucking Friday night. What time is it? Bro, it's 2:30. Let's go. Let's go. Cooking. Said I had a little recovery from Sunday. Pretty sure the last pod I dropped was Sunday. But we have been dropping pics all week on the Twitter and on Instagram. Bruh, Red Sox versus Yankees. Schwab's with the fucking bomb. Plus 260. Hit that and the Red Sox. Monday night game. LA Chargers versus the Raiders. We picked the over. We picked Derek Carr to throw a pick, which he did. The over didn't hit because Derek Carr played. Once you get pressure on him, Joey Bosa was saying. Is it Joey Bosa? Yeah, it's definitely Joe, because Nick Bosa is the other one. So, bro, Joey Bosa was like, you get pressure on him, make that little swim move quick. Said he freezes up. Now, that's crazy. I haven't heard that. But if that's what happens, you're hearing it from the player's mouth himself. So that's kind of crazy. One of the main reasons why it didn't hit the over. But that's how it goes sometimes. Hit LA Chargers minus 170. Derek Carr to throw a pick, which he did on the last drive. They're driving back down. I'm hoping for some points. But all of a sudden, Derwin James with the perfect coverage on Darren Waller. Turn around, get his head around. That's a play for all corners, college, anybody. Whatever, however old you are, whatever league you're in, that's a play to watch. Played him perfectly. Didn't hold him. Had his hand on him. Didn't hold him, though. Playing him perfectly. As soon as Waller looked for the ball, he got his head around. Boom. Pick City. So, perfect play to watch. Perfect defense. Derwin James, absolute stud over there in LA. Monster. Absolute monster of a safety. So, let's get into the show. We got World Cup qualifiers. Bruh, this shit's yesterday. Shit's crazy. You had Germany go down 1-0. Didn't even score in the first half. Came back out, ended up winning the game. But shit. How do you go down 1-0 to Romania? That's absolutely insane. But not their best day. Did not cover the 2.5, but we did pick Ivory Coast in the morning. Even without Sebastian Haller. I think they were missing a couple players from the Premier League too. Bruh, like Wilfred Zaha. Still got the job done with a 3-0 victory versus Malawi. Out there balling. Ivory Coast is always a team to look out for. Special, fast players, clinical finishers. So, solid team coming out those World Cup qualifiers in Africa. It sucks. Today I want to bet on Senegal. They don't even have the odds available. That's probably because it's like, we'll go look at it right now. Like if you look at the soccer, they only have Ghana versus Zimbabwe, Ethiopia versus South Africa. The first game, Ethiopia versus South Africa, kicks off in a half hour. It sucks when in World Cup qualifiers, sometimes you'll see crazy odds like England minus 10,000. I think the handicap bet is like minus 3.5 for them to cover that. And then you go look at Poland versus San Marino and total goals 5.5. The spread is 5.5. So they're saying all the goals are gonna basically come from Poland. And they're favored. Well, it's not the actual favorite, but the spread is 5.5 goals. So they would have to win by 6. That's absolutely insane. But with Lewandowski, You never know what might happen. I'm staying away from that shit. All those crazy odd games, like if we see the parlay right now, 7,100 odds. You add Poland. How much did that shift? 50? That's absolutely insane. So it's not even worth it. Like you seen Germany yesterday. I think they were minus like 3,000 favorites. Something crazy. Ended up going down 1-0 at half. Sometimes it just happens like that. But the locks today, as you can see quick, I have one in the UFC. I think Nikolau's going to get it done. But we'll get into that. But just to scroll through the hitters quick. Because they guaranteed today. World Cup qualifiers cooking. So, first game we got Finland versus Ukraine. Now, Finland, only players you really have to worry about, Timo Pukki. And that's really it, honestly. So, one player. But if you look at this squad, last time lost to France 2-0, which not too bad. Played them okay. But Pukki, I mean, Kamara is all right. But looking at that lineup, it's going to be tough for them. Especially in this game versus Ukraine where Zinchenko, actually, that might be a key thing. Zinchenko, you have to make sure he's playing on that left side. Because now with the Premier League, if they go on international duty, play for certain countries, they won't be allowed to return. They would have to quarantine for 14 days. Those Premier League teams, in the heart of their season, qualifiers, all that shit, they're going to be pretty reluctant to let them go, especially because they'd have to wait those 14 days. Miss what? At least 3 games. So top teams really won't let that happen, so you have to keep an eye out for that. But Yarmolenko, they didn't start, what is his name? Tsinkov? I'm pretty sure. He plays for Dynamo Kiev. Absolute beast of a winger. But if they don't have him healthy for this game, you definitely have to make sure he's out there in the starting lineup. Like if you look at Zinchenko, absolute beast for Man City. He's been hurt lately, but making that return, if he does play, how long is he going to be out? It says he has a knock. Just those things you got to be careful of. If he's out, staying away from Ukraine. But if he's in, make sure you lock in Ukraine plus 120 on the money line. Back cooking. Oh, back again. If Zinchenko is out, stay away. If he's in the game, lock him in plus 120 on the money line. That might shift drastically if he's not playing. But Yarmolenko, solid player over there for West Ham. So one of those things, just be careful about it. Make sure you're looking for the lineups. That game is at 12 o'clock, so the lineups will drop at 11. And make sure, sometimes some of these apps don't show the lineups for like lower league teams and like lower teams, like say African qualifiers. You go to certain apps, it won't show you the lineups. You look for Lithuania versus Bulgaria, probably not going to show you the lineup. So you have to go to the Twitter, right? Or wherever you look it up. This is how I find my lineups fairly quickly. I'll look up, right? You're looking for Bulgaria's lineup. Just look up Bulgaria lineup. Go to the latest, refresh it. Boom, lineup should be right there. Sometimes with these other countries, though, like I was trying to look up Egypt's lineup. It took me a while to scroll through because obviously everyone's speaking about it. Twitter's global, so it's all in like Egypt's language. I don't know if it's Egyptian or and sometimes that shit don't even have translate tweet. So you're over here trying to read the names, how they're talking about it. You can't do it. So make sure you find that correct one. Usually all teams have at least an English base account, but if you can't find it, make sure you're looking for specific names to make sure those players are out there. So the next game we got Scotland versus Israel. Now, this is a game where I'm looking forward to. Obviously, as a Liverpool fan, we got Anderson. No, we got Andy Robertson, absolute monster of a left back. Plays more of an attacking role for Scotland. Usually they put Tierney back at center back. They run three at the back, 4 midfield, 2 like central attacking midfielders, and a striker. Which, if they start Che Adams, guaranteed to win. But if you look at their last game, playing Austria, which is a tough team. They threw out a lineup with Che Adams, Jamie McGinn, Billy Gilmore, monster, Robertson Tierney back there. Those are the key names you need to look for to make sure they're starting. But Che Adams, beast. I don't know, it gets tough when he tries to back down a player, but his dribbling when he gets the ball to his feet, absolutely filthy. So that's the team where make sure those players are locked in. And Jamie McGinn, quick player too. So they're going up against Israel, which doesn't really have the best team. If you look here, they lost 5-0 to Denmark in their last game. Zahavi, really the biggest name on the team. Looking through here. Just make sure he's starting. Abada, is that the dude for... That is the dude for Celtic. Abada, he's sneaky. He's a sneaky, shifty player, only 20 years old. So that's kind of sick to look at. But if they start him alongside Zahavi, maybe a chance they score a goal. But in this game, Scotland, I'm going to lock him in. -125. And if we look over here, actually, if you look at Scotland, now they're -138. Total goals, over under at 2.5. It could hit because you have some pretty special attacking players, but it's all about the link-up play. You got players, and the thing is with World Cup qualifiers and any really international play, you have to worry about the link-up play. You could have good attackers, but if your midfield is subpar, to keep it generous, it's going to be tough to move the ball and create chances. But Scotland, they have those wide attacking players, can get crosses in, along with Billy Gilmore in the midfield, solid young player over there for Norwich. And then Che Adams. You have good strikers that can put the ball on net. So everything's playing towards Scotland right now. And if you look, -138, they have to win. If you look at them -0.5, the thing we keep saying about these odds, just to boost it that little bit, like if you take that away, right, 6,826. If you add this, it's 6,500, right? You're just losing money by not picking the correct pick. So that's why it's the little things you got to look at. You take a money line, it's the same thing as the -0.5. Definitely be skeptical, and not really skeptical, but make sure you're looking at, all right, if the team's odds -0.5 is like drastically changed by like 20 points, make sure you're keeping an eye on to make sure that team is actually winning those games. Because if they, I don't know, maybe drawn or even losing, that's something where you definitely have to keep an eye on it in the future if that is happening. But damn, that's just crazy. Oh, shout out Westbrook, right? Just showed that. Where is it? There it is. Played in his first game for the Lakers yesterday in the preseason. Gonna be a hell of a season. I can't wait till the NBA season starts. Deadass. That shit's gonna be lit. But to get back into this, I had to hide that shit. I was like, what the fuck is that doing? That's gonna be in the fucking pod. I think we did that last time where we stopped recording, had the little transition into the next pod. And then you seen like what, one or two little save files right there. I don't know why it saves top right. You could probably switch to the settings, but I don't fucking know how to do it. So, Scotland, guaranteed to win this game. Could be Could be at least 3 goals in this game, but I'm going to stay away from it. Plus 105, that's good odds for it, but I'm going to stay away from that. I'm locking in Scotland -0.5 to get the victory at home. I think they'll play solid over there. The next game, we got Sweden versus Kosovo. Now, this is a game where Ibrahimovic out. I'm pretty sure he's still hurt. Sweden lost to Greece in their last game 2-1. But if you look at the lineups, Kulusevski, Isak, Forsberg, even Olsen's solid. And then in defense, you got Lindelof. Solid team. Look at the bench. Kajus over there for Midtjylland. Solid midfielder. And it's really in Quaison. Solid striker, but he's not going to get the start over Kulusevski and Isak. Both top strikers. And Kulusevski, they start him as striker. At least that's what it looked like, depending on how the formation. Because you could see a formation and how they set it out there. But sometimes, or actually pretty often probably, you'll see those lineups and those formations switch. And not drastically, but say those two are up front, they might move Kulusevski on the outside, pull up a midfielder, put Isak in the middle. Little things like that, but that's really with all tactics and seeing how the game's going. But I think Sweden, hell of a team, even though they did lose to Greece. If you go and look at the stats, 17 to 16 on shots, let up one more shot on target, only 50-50 possession, but that was them on the road. Now they're playing Kosovo. Kosovo. That's just crazy. Yo, these names will straight hit you with the right hook and shit. They'll fuck you up sometimes. But Sweden won their 2 matches all time versus them. One was a friendly, 1-0. Last one they won on the road in the World Cup qualifiers back in March. Beat them 3-0. So I don't think this game's going to be any different. You got Kosovo coming off a loss, 2-0 at home versus Spain. Drew versus Greece, which is the team Sweden lost to, but they were at home in that game. They beat Georgia and Gambia. Not crazy, but then lost to Guinea. So, looks like a team that they have decent matches versus some teams, but when you're going up against Sweden, all the top players that they have, I'm locking in Sweden -350. And when you go and look at the over-under, it's at 2.5. Probably not bad odds. Seen the last game finish 3-0 between these two. So, see, I'm not going to add it. It's good value, -125 if you want to do a little parlay. But I'm going to stay away from it. I could see like a 2-0, 1-0 close victory in this one. So I'm going to take them -350 and stay away from the handicap bet. Because that's probably, -1.5, probably not. Plus 100, that's good odds too. But actually, see, we are going to switch it up here. And not necessarily switch it up, let's add on. So, Sweden, -350 and -1.5 for those plus 100 odds. You can't add them both, but if you want to do like a safer parlay, you could add -350 because they guarantee to win this game. But -1.5 with those top players, I'm gonna lock that in too. Let me get that down quick. At plus 100 odds, that's surprising. That'll probably switch closer to kickoff depending on who they start. So lock both those in. The next game, we were going to do Andorra versus England, but those odds are ridiculous. -10,000. Winning 4-0, that's kind of crazy. England's been up and down. Granted, they have a stacked team, but we're going to stay away from this one. -10,000, over-under at 3. That has now shifted. Was at 3.5 last night, now at 4.5. For Andorra to score versus England is going to be tough, so I don't think that's going to happen. And if England win 4-0, that won't hit the over. those are always little things you got to keep in mind when placing these bets. So I'm going to stay away from that one. The next one we got Faroe Islands versus Austria. Now, this is a game where probably not too many people are on, right? Faroe Islands, not the best so far. 1-1-4 so far. In Group F, which is a stacked group, Denmark, Scotland, Austria has a solid team. David Alaba. Pretty sure they got like Marcel Sabitzer. All them folks. But haven't been good as of late. Lost to Scotland. Lost to Israel 5-2. Got washed. Beat Moldova. Not really that good of a win. But they did play. If you remember them in the Euros, they were my sleeper team. And people might not be on them, but I'm fucking with Alaba. If you look, their lineup's solid. Baumgartner, absolute beast. Arnautovic, big striker, not really pacey, but can put the ball on net. Shoots the ball crazy. Absolute rockets on net. So I wouldn't be too surprised if he gets a goal in this game. You have Konrad Laimer. He's an absolute beast over there in the Bundesliga. Hinteregger and even Dragovic at center back, absolute monsters. And then Alaba over there, Real Madrid. He's an absolute stud. So for this game, it depends, man. Because Austria minus 550, they haven't looked the best. But Faroe Islands, they lost 4-0 to Israel. Beat Moldova 2-1, which, okay, pretty much everybody's beating them. But that 1-0 loss to Denmark at home, that has me a little sketched out. That's why I'm not going, because they're favored by minus 2.5 on the handicap bet. You go over here and look at this. Actually, see, that's one where now at minus 1.5. Almost positive last night. That was at 2.5. If you look at it right now, Austria, solid team. Faroe Islands, players you got to worry about on their team. In that 2-1 victory, see Olsen, not the best team. Couple sneaky players, but not really much. You don't really have to worry about anything on their squad. They might get a goal, but by 1.5, I think that handicap bet solid. I'm probably going to stay away from that. I'm going to lock in Austria to have a tough victory on the road, probably 1-0. If they do get that 2-0, it's really like, fuck it. Like yesterday, Ivory Coast 1-0. They probably could have let up at least a goal or two themselves. But later on in the game, the last 15, 20 minutes, ended up scoring 2 more goals. So they ended up covering that 1.5, but it's always sketchy with teams traveling on the road, especially if you look here with Austria. So in this game, I'm going to stay away from that minus 1.5, and I'm going to lock in Austria minus 550. If I'm sticking with my gut here, actually, fuck it. Stick with the gut. Minus 550 for them to be a guaranteed winner. Add them in your safe parlay if you do that. And minus 1.5, that'll probably switch. Because if you look at those odds, it's minus 143 for them to win by 2 goals. I just think Faroe Islands, how they played versus Denmark at home, could play into it. But if you go and look at Mother Hubble, see? That's crazy. But if you go and look, they lost 4-0 to Israel at home also. So, up and down team. Don't score much. But I'm going to lock in both of those. Minus 1.5 and Austria minus 550. Send it. Let's go. Let's go. You know what else is crazy? My fucking temp tag is up today. I'm over there calling the fucking dealership like, yo, this shit expires tomorrow. If I get pulled, get some type of bullshit ticket. If these motherfuckers don't know how the DMV's going, little ass state like Rhode Island, you would think they'd be swiftly moving through shit. But of course not. Never that. So, but what is dope, at least they set up some fucking, I don't know, like some, not necessarily a canopy, but a little like covering, right? Between the rails and the line. At least you ain't getting rained on. That shit is never smooth though. So, just waiting for my fucking place to come in. They need to get a move on. I can't fucking ride with this shit expired. Boy's about to get pulled over quickly. So, let's get back into this. What's the next game? What we got for the next game? Luxembourg versus Serbia. Now, this is one that has shifted since I covered it. Minus 300 just this morning has now shifted to minus 334. Let's go. And I think Serbia will get the job done. But if you go and look how they've been playing, haven't lost yet. Facing Luxembourg, who have lost twice but also picked up 2 wins. But Luxembourg let up 8 goals so far, only scored 5, compared to Serbia where they've scored 12 goals. That's some of the most goals scored throughout these qualifiers so far. But if you look at their goals given up, they have given up 7 goals. That's just going to play right into the over. I don't have too many for the over-unders, but Faroe Islands versus Austria, probably staying away from that one. Take that actually off right now. But that Serbia versus Luxembourg game, both teams giving up 15 goals combined through 9 matches between the both of them. I'm thinking Serbia going on the road. It's not going to matter. They have a stacked team. Even though they did draw versus Ireland, 18-6 on shots, 10 shots on target. They got Milinkovic, Savic, Mitrovic, Vlahovic, absolute monster, breakout player. Really last year, but this year, continuing his form. He was actually linked to Man City. That's kind of crazy. But Vlahovic, absolute beast for Fiorentina. And in the defense, Pavlovic, he's Milinkovic, I think he plays over there at Lazio. Oh, he actually plays at Fiorentina too. So, you got them Fiorentina players linking up. Serbia, also Tadic, Gudels, and Kostic. And Kostic, you know he's that fast winger over there for Frankfurt. Absolute stud of a team. And even on the bench, you got Luka Jovic, absolute beast. Maximovic, which central defensive midfielder, I think that's the one. Oh, he actually made a move. Okay, Getafe midfielder. That's not the one I'm thinking of. The other dude could play for Czech Republic. But, see, even Racic, he's a beast. He played over there for Valencia. See, he played for them for a couple years. Now, he's not right benched for both those games. Got 13 minutes. Hasn't really got on the pitch. That's kind of crazy because he's a solid midfielder. But being on the bench, that's going to be sketchy. But absolute stat team. I'm going to take Serbia, which is now minus 334. Those odds are going to keep switching. So I'm going to take them minus 334, lock it in. Serbia, minus 1.5, lock it in. And because both these teams have given up 15 goals and Serbia could score at will, I'm going to take the over 2.5 also in this game. Let's rip it. 3 locks for that Serbia on the road versus Luxembourg game. Fucking send it. Let's go. And these games, starting with that Austria game. So the 12 o'clock games, just so you know when to get it in. Finland, Ukraine. And these are only for the locks. There's more games at 12. but these are only the games that we have locked in at 12. Scotland versus Israel, Sweden versus Kosovo. Those are the three 12 o'clock games we got locked in. 2:45, we got Faroe Islands, Austria, that Luxembourg, Serbia game. The next two at 2:45, Moldova versus Denmark. Now, Denmark, absolute stack team. Minus 2,000 on the road. We have them locked in to win by at least 3 goals. And if you look at how they've been matched up lately, Moldova losing 3 straight. Denmark with wins over Scotland, Faroe Islands, and beating Israel 5-0. Not letting up a single goal in their last trip of World Cup qualifiers. Absolute beast. In their last meeting, back in March, Denmark beat Moldova 8-0 at home. Absolute stacked team. I'm not worried about them traveling on the road. You see in their last game, beat Faroe Islands 1-0 on the road. Not the best performance, but with wins over Czech Republic and taking England to extra time in the Euro 2020, that's an absolute stacked performance. So I'm thinking Denmark in this game. The teams you got to worry about, not really a crazy team you got to worry about, but if you look at Moldova, I wouldn't worry about them at all. Because Mayo, beast of a winger, Kyer, and then you got, Joachim Andersen? Beast. Absolute beast at the center back. This shit, let's shift it. Christensen in the middle. Højbjerg. Damsgaard is an absolute stud of a winger. Beast. I think he plays over there for Sampdoria. And he was actually linked to a couple top clubs. So if he has a good performance this year, plays well for the international team, he will be on the move. No goals yet this year, but I wouldn't be too worried about it. Setting up assists, has 3 so far. And it sucks when you play with a lower tier squad. And Sampdoria, they're not bad. But put Damsgaard, only 21 years old, put him on a top club, he's going to turn into an absolute monster. So I'm thinking with this game, especially Poulsen up front, who's the other striker? Pretty sure Brun Larsen, he's decent. But especially when you're locked in goal with Kasper Schmeichel, absolute stacked team. So for this game, we locking in Denmark minus 2.5 to get the job done. And if you look at the odds for the goals, granted, if it's over 3.5, right, and they win 3-1, they don't cover the 2.5 spread. I could easily see a 3-0 victory with it being 2-0 till like the 80th minute and them getting the last second covering the spread goal. So that's what I'm projecting for this game. 3-0 victory and them to cover minus 2.5. Lock it in. Lock it in. Let's get to it. So the last lock we got for these Europa World Cup qualifiers, and it's weird because they have the Europe qualifiers, right? But they're actually World Cup qualifiers. So European qualifying matches. Granted, they're talking about the European teams, but if you speak about it and if people just go and look at it, they might be confused. Like, is this the Euros? Is this World Cup? Is it CONCACAF? Is this fucking like African qualifiers? Because there is an African Cup that they actually play for. So people can get confused. Just to be specific, these are all World Cup qualifiers. They all have their groups. So, because you do see with the Euros and the African qualifiers, and then you have the Copa America, it can get confusing. So, just to be clear. So, the last one we got for this game, on this ill Saturday, let's go. Shout out my Dukes. Dropped her off at the bus station. She going to Boston Logan International Airport. Have fun on your trip. Be safe. That's love. So, Switzerland versus Northern Ireland. Now, Switzerland, favored minus 350. I think they're a guaranteed lock to win this game, even though Northern Ireland has been playing well lately. You see them going up against, actually, the last World Cup qualifier, it was 0-0. Oh, shit, huh? It's like that. See? Seferovic, missed penalty. Zakaria, yellow card in the 53rd. But Northern Ireland, they aren't too good of a team. Only have 4 shots with 30% of possession with no shots on goal. They aren't going to get the job done in this. Switzerland at home now in this game. Seferovic, Vargas, Zakaria, even Friula. I think Friula, he plays over there in Atalanta. Let's just make sure I ain't speaking out my absolute stud over there for Atalanta. Hell of a midfielder. Then if we look back at it, Elvaldi and Akanji, solid central backs. And you need those center backs to have hell of a game, especially if you want to cover like 1.5 and 2.5 spreads. They need to be getting to balls first, heading it out, all that shit, making sure communication is going to be on point, because they're all from, when you're playing for your country, everyone knows like the little lingo and all that shit that may not always be there for those, like if you're playing in England for a club instead of your international team. So that's why certain teams play well, especially when you have everyone from that nation playing, and just like the whole vibe of it, like playing with your fucking, like the little crest right there. You see people like it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I love how fucking in-depth it gets. So when you're playing for your nation, especially at home, Switzerland, and I could see them starting Embolo. Embolo is an absolute beast. He wasn't even on the bench, probably hurt for the last game. So I could see Embolo going out there, scoring the first goal. Let's see what that's at, actually. Add in market, and sometimes they don't even have it, but there it is. Embolo plus 350 to score the first goal. Let's send it. I'm gonna actually write that down for this one. Let's go. Have a day. Let's have a day, ladies and gents. Let's go. So, coming off yesterday, shout out the Red Sox. 5 home runs. 5 fucking home runs. JD with that huge one to break the tie. Absolute shot to center field. 3-run home run, put him up 8-5. And I had a feeling, right? I had a feeling the Red Sox were going to get that win. Part of it was, can Chris Sale pitch good? Guess what? 5 earned runs on 4 hits in the first fucking inning. It happens like that sometimes. Like you see Garrett Cole. Yeah, it's none of that sticky tag. So, ain't going to happen down there in Boston. You see what I'm saying? So, let's get to it. Hit that parlay along with the over 5.5. I think, what game was it? I think, well, motherfucker. So guess what? We got that pulled up right here. Oh yeah, Flyers Capitals, bruh. That over under at 5.5 was at +4, 140 odds. I think early on in the first, probably like halfway through, they end up getting a goal. Shifts a little bit. I wait on it. Wait till like they go to the, I think, intermission between first and second. Odds are sitting there +140. I said, all right, let me parlay these two. And that was right before the Rays ended up hitting that grand slam. That's crazy because we got Boston at -180 odds. He must have hit that grand slam right after. I see the fucking, I'm not even watching the game, right? I'm over there grinding, notes, podcast. Bro, I look back, the score is fucking 5-1. 5-1. I'm like, damn, this how this is gonna go. Because certain games between top teams, which you know give up a lot of goals and score goals, like the Capitals and Flyers. sometimes those odds will shift drastically. If there's no goals in that first period, or there's like one late goal, you could get them around 9-8 minutes to go. You could get them in there at solid odds, and it almost guarantees to hit the over. Like yesterday, over-under was at 5.5 plus 140 odds. End up scoring 8 total goals. So, little thing to look at. And another thing, before we get into our boxing and UFC locks, we got almost back with that hockey hitter. Now, the specific hitter, when a team is down, say, 1 goal halfway through the third period, they will have the over-under. Say it's a 4-3 game, all right? Over-under at 8.5. So the only way it'll hit 9 goals is if that team comes back, ties it up at 4-4, and then scores a game-winning goal to make it 5-4 to reach 9 total goals, hit the over 8.5, and this is live odds. So the Minnesota Wild the other night, same thing. I think it was 3-3 though. Down 3-1 in the third, dominating the game. They were plus 700 odds. I look at that shit, I'm like, bruh, they're playing too well not to get a game winner. We've hit numerous bets like this last year. If you parlay that team that's down 1 goal, say plus 700 odds in the Wild's instance, and you add whatever the over-under is, bro, those odds will shift on a live bet too. Like plus 1,500 odds for a parlay that could really only hit. Like, granted, the other team can score 2 goals, but not usually gonna happen like that. They'll probably score 1 empty net, something like that. But usually, if that team comes back, scores that game tying, then guess what? If it goes into overtime, you could hedge your bet a little bit because you just placed ducats on a plus 1,500 odds bet. You could hedge it now that the teams are even. Hedge it, picking the other team to win. Guess what? You're winning cake either way. And if that team doesn't come back and win, guess what? You still got the other team that gave up that game tying goal on the money line, because those odds probably shifted from them being like minus 450 to now minus 125. Probably a pick 'em when it goes to overtime. So the Wild the other day, I think the Rhode Island Sports would kind of caught on to it. We took, I think, the Wild plus 700, added in the over. We go to place the bet, and they fucking closed the market for the over-under. I'm like, damn, I had to take out the over because it's just as closed market, even though they just took it off. Have to take that off, submit it. It takes 7 seconds for it to go through on some bullshit. Within that whole time frame, the fucking Wild tie it up. I was like, where is it at? I was like, bruh, I could have hit again in the preseason. But I think that's just a little preview of what this hockey season is going to be and become. So, sports all over, hockey, basketball, football, boxing, UFC, and what we covered today, soccer, kicking it like karate. Let's do it. Gonna be a hell of a year. Can't wait till all these sports start up. So let's get into the last couple locks. We got, and this is a game where I think is one of the most a fight where it's one of the most unanticipated fights in a while. Especially, people are looking forward to it. It's doing views, depending on however many those are bought. But Wilder versus Fury, for this to be a trilogy, I swear this is the most unanticipated trilogy in a while, probably ever. Like, Fury already whooped his ass twice. Granted, he got knocked on his ass on that first one and just rose from the fucking dead. That's some crazy shit. But he outboxed him in that first one. Ended up being a draw. Second one, worked him. Bad. And shout out RDGs. We was in, I think, nah, we didn't go to the Tiverton one. It was, we went to Twin River. Shout out Twin. Placed a specific round the knockout was going to happen. Shout out round 7. Over there watching it. He's working him. He probably could have finished him in the 6th. Ended up pushing around 7. They threw in the fucking towel, and that was it. I think it was like something crazy, like plus 800 odds, something like that, for him to get knocked out in the 7th. Fucking hit it. So I think it's only good vibes, and it's only right if we do go over to Twin River tonight and place a bet. Probably, I think the last time we went it was like 8 o'clock, so I'm probably going to try to go around the same time. Keep the vibes up. Hopefully it works out. But for this fight, I have the first 2, I was like, Fury's going to win. Now this one, based on the press conference, I think that man, right, each of them coming in the heaviest they've ever been. Fury obviously can, bro, he's 6'9". For him to even weigh under 300 pounds, that's crazy. But he's going to get out there. He got good footwork. Deontay Wilder switched up like his whole team and his boxing coach, all that. So he's coming back in. I think he's going to get it done. I think Fury's doing a little too much talking. He's out there. He's really amped up and shit. And not like he wasn't the last time. I'm just seeing a different vibe. Wilder seems like he's in a good headspace. He's not going to wear the fucking 40-pound jacket. 40-pound little costume. And I'm thinking for this fight, Wilder is going to come out of nowhere. And this plays in a perfect, right? Especially with boxing. Even though this is a trilogy. The first one they drew. If Wilder wins this one, say he knocks him out. If you don't think there's going to be a 4th fight, especially because the first one was a draw, and it's going to basically be 1-1, I'm going to go Wilder by knockout plus 265. And he's currently sitting at plus 230 odds. Fury's favored minus 280. But I'm thinking Fury's getting a little too hyped. It kind of seemed like nervous energy, right? And I'm thinking Wilder, come in. He looks built. He looks stacked for this one. And I'm going to take him, lock him in, plus 265 to get the knockout tonight. Let's go. Let's fucking go. I can't believe that you have a fight this big, right? And the undercard has like nobody on it. And that's probably one of the main reasons why it's not crazily anticipated. But I don't know. Even though I think Wilder will get the job done, and everyone is probably going to watch it just because today, all through college football, they're going to be, if they're watching shit on ESPN, they're going to be hammering that shit. They probably got ads going out throughout everywhere. I haven't really seen them go on too many different like sports shows and shit, try to promote it. So that could be another main reason. But I'm thinking this fight will probably be it'll probably be over quick, if we're being honest. They're showing a lot of like, all right, let's get to it. So I'm thinking Wilder's going to get the knockout tonight for sure. Absolutely for sure. And in UFC, Nicolau, absolute beast. He's facing Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott, 18, 11, and 1. And then you got Matthew Nicolau, 16, 3, and 1. Coming off that victory versus Manel Kape. He's not bad at all. It was pretty even when you look at the stats and strikes. Even though Kape threw what? 33 more strikes, landed 3 less. So the percentage, Nicolau hitting at a 57.5% in his last fight. 2 of 9 takedowns. If you could get 1 or 2 takedowns, that's going to at least add in and put that in perspective for the other fighter that, damn, he could take me down. And then that just exerts more energy trying to get up, get him off you, So I'm thinking Nicolau in this fight, he's an absolute beast. He got knocked out by Dustin Ortiz. That was 2 years ago. Coming back, and Cape was one of those fighters who I'm pretty sure got the contract for that Tuesday night contender series, which is hella lit when they're fighting for a contract. But fighting one of those fighters, coming out of there, first fight, right? Sometimes it could be like, oh, maybe the lights are too bright, right? Like, damn, I'm in the UFC, the ring walk, all that shit. But in your first fight for the UFC, you're going to want to get to it. And for Nicolau to take him out, granted it went to a decision, but it looked like he dominated the fight. They each got the same number of strikes, but Nicolau, you see the movement, only allowing 44% to hit. So under 50, that's pretty solid, especially for UFC fighters. This is the top level, top of the food chain when it comes to mixed martial arts. So I'm thinking in this fight, Nicolau, he'll get the job done. If you look at Tim Elliott, beat Jordan Espinosa, not a good record, 15-9, beat him by decision. Back in 2020, lost to Askarov by decision, got submitted by Royval, who Royval, he's a beast. But decision in Ryan Benoit, not really big wins. Submitted by, we already know Figueiredo is an absolute monster. But lost by submission. See, it looks like if he's going to lose, it's going to be by submission. But Nicolau, he's really a striker. He has, he gets into Jackson's MMA. That's solid too. I don't know if he got Brazilian mixed martial artist, but does he have does that mean he got Brazilian jiu-jitsu? Like, what's his specialty? That's just kind of wild. But that's kind of crazy. I've been on Nicolau for a little bit now, and 16-3-1 toting that record. He's minus 190 tonight. Let's lock him in. Let's get it. He's an absolute beast. Brazilian fights like a dog. And Tim Elliott probably fighting to actually stay on the UFC roster. So this is gonna be one of the fights. Probably gonna be a dog fight. But I'm looking for a Nicolau to come out with the victory, probably by decision. And if you look at the over/under for that one, you got, pretty sure it's at 2.5. Yeah, minus 230 for it to go 3 rounds or finish after, halfway through in that second round, which probably won't happen. So, battle between some strikers. Tim Elliott, he can submit you, but probably not going to happen. If you look at Austria, you just seen it live on the pod. It gets to shifting. Shit gets to shifting. That's absolutely crazy. Minus 550. Now if we go look at Austria, I took a minus 1.5, right? Took him with the gut. Now if we go look at it, it could have switched to 2.5 now. I'll show you live on the pod. On the podcast. Back again on this Saturday. Let's get it. Handicap bet, ooh. Still at minus 1.5, so that means a lot of money's coming on Austria money line. They will win by at least 2 goals on the road. Even though Faroe Islands been playing decent, that 4-0 loss to Israel at home, that's really the key component for me. So, let's get it. Let's get it. Hell of a day for these Saturday locks. Got it out early. First game start at 12 o'clock. All the fights happening. I think Nicolau's fight, 5:10 p.m. Eastern time. And then you have Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. The trilogy. I'm trying to amp it as much as I can. Even though I don't know about this one, man. But if Wilder does win, guess what? Everybody is going to want to watch that 4th one. I don't even know what you call it. See, I don't even know what you call it. Well, like, quality? There's no way. There's no way you call it a quality. Stop playing. This definition. Where's the definition? It's just not even a word. Let's go. Tell me if it isn't the fourth fight, it's not called equality. Fuck out of here. On that note, we out of here. Back again on this Saturday. Goals left and right. We got Bosnia. Probably, who is it? There were some sneaky players. Eden Zeko. Who's the other one though? Is he on a bench? Damn. They have another sneaky player too. Guess he ain't playing in that one. Good thing we stayed away from it. That might, you never know, Kazakhstan might come out of nowhere. Back on this Saturday, let's get to it. End this all. JB on the beat. Turn that up for me one time. Hey, get the shoulders moving. Let's have a day. Goals all over, hitters all over. Let's get it.